Welcome to a new devlog. Woo, spooky, what happened to the SCP-1? Well, I've temporarily stopped working on that because I've been busy with other things. For starters, I've been busy with uni work, and also I've had the aspiration to continue this project, which is a project I started quite a long time ago. I think it was at least a couple of years ago. Yeah, I started this a few years ago, and I reached a part where I was like, I can't do this, so I just stopped, and it's been sitting in the dust and collecting more dust since, and suddenly I was like, squeaky chair, I was like, I could probably continue this now because I've had more experience with Unity and programming, so I decided, why not? I'll start it, and it'll be fun. So that's exactly what I've done, and yeah, this is it. This is called Project Monolith, and from the time of recording, I've been working on this for at least a couple of weeks. Now, I have been following tutorials, obviously, because some things I just don't get. For example, day-night cycles. I will actually have to bring up whatever lost soul I used to actually make the day-night cycle, because I used this tutorial before and it didn't work because me being me skipped a bunch of it thinking, oh, I don't need that. It turns out I needed it all. If I just give it a good type, it's fucking helpful. Let me type that in. Okay, never mind. I'll just go. It's on YouTube, so I can easily search that. I'm cutting all this out. I don't. It's all because yeah. Alright. That's like Unity, and it was made by One Wheel Studio. It was 2 years ago, and it kind of just stopped. However, they stopped at a certain point where you can just make whatever you want, which is what I did. I continued from that. Basically, I have the day-night cycle logic. I can now have whatever I want from there. Anyway, this game the game's idea is that it takes place over 3 days in-game, not real life. That'll take a long time. And after them 3 days, the game resets, and you start from the beginning. However, you keep certain things like items. Imagine Majora's Mask at this point. You keep items, and you keep essential items. You don't keep non-essential items. That stuff. Okay. Other things. No, I'm not going to talk about other things. Actually, yeah, I will. There is an asteroid. I've not gone with a moon because that's a little bit too Majora's Masky. And there's no town. There's no town it's going to crash on. It's not going to be like, no, we're celebrating a festival and that's going to be the last festival we're ever going to use. It's not going to be like that. It's simply going to be in an excavation site. And there is history to the excavation site. I'm not going to talk about it yet because it's not fully there. It's I've made a design document about it. Just me. There is some kind of story at the moment, or backstory, but I will not say anything. I don't want to. So to keep suspense and mystery of what's actually happening. Why is there an excavation site? Why is it called Project Monolith? Because there's a monolith in this, just in the top part of the map. I didn't know any other name, so I just called it Project Monolith. It's something pretty easy to go by. Anyway, the game starts off with the player in a weird little chamber thing, and this is called the Televitation Hub. It doesn't just teleport. It can drag people through time, or basically rip them out of their timeline and put them in this one. So a bit of time travel, essentially. Basic time travel, forced time travel. You don't have any control over it. Well, you do, depending on what you do in the game. You can just eventually stop it if you just essentially pull the plug. Not from here though. and there is also the aerial tower. Cool name, I know. Still depending on what name I should give that. And basically, at the end of the 3 days, or before the asteroid collides, the world-ending asteroid, might I mention, collides with the planet pretty much right outside the monolith itself. It fires a beam into the sky, which then lands on top of the player, and will teleport them back in time, or transport them back in time, and boom, they're back in the teleportation hub, and yeah, they have to continue their journey. I'm planning on making this open world, at least fully open world, so there will be some climbing techniques. As you may tell, this is inspired greatly by some of the Legend of Zelda games. There will be dungeons, because I like dungeons, and I'm planning on having at least 8 or 9 of them in total. The teleportation hub being like a pre-dungeon, but it's been like it's transformed into something else. Basically just a hub for this time travel machine, or part of it. Now, onto what I've done. Enough storytelling. I'll go through that as the devlogs go along. Enough storytelling. Now it's time for the devlog itself. What have I done in this? What have I done since last year, like a couple of years ago, and finally starting it a couple of weeks ago to a month? What have I done? Well, for starters, I have put the player in a box. The player's in a room with this machine with a little light on it. You press E to interact, by the way, and that door will open and will close on its own. You have to press E to open it, and it makes nice, cool sounds. Here's the intro music, temporary. You might notice there's a clock there. That is to do with the day-night cycle tutorial I found, and everything to do with the sun is day-night cycle. Everything night I've made myself, with an added tutorial for the stars. The moon and galaxies are made by me, following off from the other night tutorial, because I don't know half the things that you can do in this. I'm still learning. And that's one thing I like about this. But yeah, that was the intro music as I spoke through the entirety of it. And from there I walk out. I walk out into the open area, or past, or out of the area of the teleportation hub, and this is the first bio music you will hear, and it's called The Journey, or The Sands Journey. The original song is called The Sands. I posted it on YouTube quite a while ago, and that's a more fast-paced version, but this is a more slow-paced version for journeying. I'm planning on having each bio have its own little theme, and each area to also have its own theme. I will let this play out. I'm trying to capture the sense of adventure, but also a little bit of urgency, as well as the song of the desert. This is my temporary inventory at the moment. As you can see, there's 9 slots, unused space, keys, coins, and 2 map button. There is no map at the moment, but I will have one. I'm planning on just having as an everyday map. It'll probably indicate where or which biome you're in with a little glowing box. It won't tell you exactly where you are. You'll have to figure that out for yourself. From what you can see as well is the monolith, which is just a massive stick in the ground. I think it's massive, by the way. It's around what? I think it's 138 meters in width and length. Its height is, I don't know what its height is, but yeah, that's its meters at the moment. The player's the little player character thing is about a meter wide. At the moment, they'll be thinner a little bit, Yeah, there's the aerial tower, the blocky building it is. And as you can tell, it takes a long time to walk from A to B. Because, yeah, I'm only this far from the Televitation Hub, and I haven't even reached the aerial tower yet. And that is also a big building itself. It's also a temporary dungeon. I made like a dungeon. It's out of it, but it's not revolved around any. It's not revolved around any type of item yet. I am still thinking of item ideas, and some of them have been pretty good. Some of them have just been naff. I won't say any yet until they actually get made, or they're good enough to make. But yes, anyway, moving on to the next part, and that is nighttime. When I followed the original day-night cycle by One Wheel Studio, there were no stars. None at all. They didn't fade in, they didn't fade out. Now, what I've done is, from the other tutorial I found, that taught me how to make my own day-night cycle, but I didn't need to. I already have one. And with the one I made, I branched off of it and took some inspiration from the other day-night cycle. Only thing I took from it was how the stars are formed. As you can tell, they rotate and things, but they're scattered around. But there's a big star band in the center to show like that you're in a galaxy. There's the moon as well, as you saw. That is a different phase. Ignore the time. That is in the bottom left corner as a temporary thing, just so I know what time it is and what happens where. But yeah, as you see, the moon's there. The moon does change phase every night. I won't be including a day counter. Well, there's a day counter in there, but I won't be allowing the player to see what day it is. They will have to rely on the moon to actually see. So this is the first day. The second day it's half moon, and on the third day it's a full moon. Yes, I skipped like the waning, thing, or wax. Is it? Which one is it? Isn't waxing crescent and waning's like almost full? I'm not quite sure. I know there's others. There's two others, but yeah, you get what I mean. Anyway, now I'm showing you the interaction with an NPC. This is a test NPC. Both the player and looks at the NPC, and the NPC turns to look at the player. It does tilt up and down at the moment, but I'm planning on having that to be just ahead. This is a chest. The player will look at the chest, and then open chest animation, whatever that will be. There'll probably be two, for small little items like coins and things, and larger items for bigger things. Anyway. Here, as you can see, I have a lock-on system. It's a little bit finicky. The camera is all over the place. So I'm thinking of having it so that it'll naturally transition between the cameras, rather than just flipping back and forth because you move the camera. There's two different sets. That's a bit finicky. As you can tell, this is what I'm planning on having it. So I want it to look at the enemy at all times. And yeah. We'll look at the enemy all times and have the player strafe around, which makes more sense, so you can attack. At the moment, it will take the closest target to you, rather than cycle through. I can't do that. I'm keeping it as closest target at the moment. So it might get a little finicky, or when the enemies start moving around. This is one of the items I've made. It's a cube rod. It literally just creates a cube with a 3-second cooldown. I can climb on top of it, and it is also a physics object. I will be allowing it to only spawn in, or allow you to click it in certain locations. At the moment, you can just use it to climb on things, and you can put it on enemies. It's quite funny. And also the camera offsets, so you can see where it's pointing. But it's pretty cool. It uses a nice little raycast that has a limit. And yeah, you can place it wherever at the moment. just walking back, showing a 3-second cooldown. I'm spam clicking at the moment. Also, whenever you've got an item out, you cannot lock onto anything. I've done that by choice. It's simply the other way around. If you're locking on something, you cannot use an item. Yet. I'm planning on having, or allowing the player to use certain items to lock on. Like, for example, a bow and arrow, or some kind of ranged weapon, but not stuff like this. As you can see, I'm just showing an example of a nice way of using this, as I fail to jump up. The other side I could jump up easily, but this side I can't, so I need the box to help, and there we go, I've jumped on top, which is quite nice, and I failed the next parkour jump pretty sadly. I jump on thing, and I don't even jump at all. Okay, the tutorial I used for the procedural stars is made by Cog Mission. At this point, now you hear some dreadful music. Right, so as you can tell, it fades in pretty, spooky song, for a pretty appropriate time, to be honest. It's the last day, what else can you do? Basically, it's just designed to cause a little bit of tension, actually quite a bit of tension, as you hurry to get whatever you're doing done and dusted for the next loop, while the song constantly reminds you that it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing is literally personal gain. If it's a side quest, if it's a main quest, obviously it does matter, but so then the song has a different meaning of more of the character getting stronger, ready to fight. But yeah. For the other songs, as you could tell, it was a pretty long song for the whatever the morning song is. I've called it just like, I've nicknamed it the morning song now actually. I've just called it Next Day and Last Day, respectively. And yeah, so because you haven't heard the Next Day song, it's a lot shorter, and here it is playing now. But yeah, that's it. That's it for this Devlog, and it's a long one, a very long one. There's quite a bit to show off, and yeah, this is definitely more of a main project rather than a thing. This is where I can put all of my creativity, which is in my mind, to this, and I quite like doing this. This is a fun project to make so far, and next time there should be quite a few things to show off as well, which will be good.